Okay, now let's see another question. So if you are having the confusion here, so what I'm doing here is I'm just calling the sum function. I'm calling here the sum function, right? That means this function has been executed. Here we are saying a is equal to int input into the number. That means here we are when we are assigning a value to a, that's why I'm saying a equal to means this value I'm assigning to a. Before assigning, I'm executing this line. As we know, there is an input function, and input function is getting the 34 as the input, but the data type, default data type of this input function is a string, right? That means here we will receive that string 34, but we want to perform the addition of the two integers. That means here we convert this string data type to the integer data type. Now a is having a integer 34, right? If I will not use here int, then it will capture here the string data type, right? Same thing. Then it is executing the b. At the time, it is again taking the value from here. Then it is calculating a plus b. That is this value plus this value. Then it returning to the position here. Okay, now it is done. Now let me move to the next one. Now here the program that we'll be doing now is find the sum of ELEME and yes elements of a list or tuple. It's one and the same thing, right? There is no difference between the same code we applied to the both the programs, right? Let's say I'm saying here my list, my underscore list, right? And I'm saying my list is equal to 25 comma 65 comma 33 comma 45, right? You can have the list of any line, right? This is the basic list here. Now we have to perform the sum of every element here. As we know, we can use the for loop. We can use the for loop. What we had to do here before that, let me tell you, we have to perform 25 plus 65 plus 33 plus 45. This is the operation that we have to perform. That means sum of all these three things, right? And what I will do here is I will use a for loop. I will say for val in my list, my underscore list list, right? I told you in the previous class as well, in the previous video, when you are directly using a data type on which you can iterate, at the time this for loop is returning the value at the first position in the first iteration, in the second iteration, in the second position, then third, then fourth iteration, like that. Once the all the elements are traversed here in this list, then this for loop will stop, right? I also told you you can use the range function, that I will show you here as well again, right? Now what we have to perform, since this val initially in the first iteration it will give me 25, right? Now I have to preserve this 25 somewhere, because in the second iteration I will get the 65. Then I will perform the 25 plus 65, that means this part is then, and preserve it somewhere, because in the next iteration you will get the 33. Then you will perform the previous sum with the 33, right? In the fourth iteration you will get the 45. Then you will perform the addition of all these what you have preserved with the 45, right? So to preserve something, for that we need one variable. Let's say that variable is sums equal to 0. Initially we are saying that the sum that we have calculated is nothing, because we have not visited here. That's why we are saying initially the sum is 0, as you are doing in the physics or mathematics. Let x is equal to 0, right? Initially you are saying let x is equal to 0. Then after 5, 7, 8 steps you are saying now x is equal to certain value, like x is equal to 20, like that, right? Initially also here we are saying we have not calculated any sum here till now, right? Now if we are performing the sum, I will say sums equal to sumz sum plus val, right? Because sum is 0 and val will give you 25, that I will say 0 plus 25 is 25, and will store this 25 here in the sum, right? First the right hand side has been evaluated, then it is been assigned to the left hand side. Okay, then in the second iteration, what we are getting here is 65. That means value is having now 65. Getting this point? And you are performing sums equal to sum. That means previously now the value of sums is not 0, but the value of sums is now 25, and I'm saying 25 plus 65 and perform the addition of these two things. It will be I guess 80, uh, 65 plus 5 is 70, 70 plus 2 is 90, right? It will be 90, and 90 will be stored here, right? Then in the third iteration you will do the value will receive now 33, you will do 90 plus 33, it will be 123, right? Then again you will come here, now the value will be having the 45, you will do 45 plus 23. If you want to visualize it as well, I will say here print SUMZ, right? Okay, S is small. Now let me run it, and let's check the output. Okay, it is saying in the first iteration it is for 25, then it will do 25 plus 65, that will become 90, then it will be 90 plus 33, it will do 123, then 123 plus 45, it will say 168, right? Like this you can also do it. There is some other way also. Is there any other way? Yes, there is other way also. Let me comment these lines. Okay, the other way here is I will again say sum is equal to 0. Let me take this list, Control C, and I will paste it here, and I will take the list as it is from here, Control C, and I will paste it here as well. All right, let's keep these things here. Now forget about this thing. Now, I told you here we use the for loop without the range function. When you are not using the range functionality here, directly you are getting the values from the list or the tuple or a string, right? Now here I am having this thing, and after that I am saying I will be using now range function. I will say for I in range. Now, I don't know how many elements are here. How many elements are here? Here we can visualize that here are four elements, but I have to tell my interpreter that there are four elements. Now to find how many elements are here, we are having one function called as the len, and here I will say length of my underscore list. Okay, so it will give you here 4. That means indirectly you are receiving here 4, right? And we know when we are having only one value here, that value is by default stopping condition, right? So again I will say here for sorry, I will say here print, and here it will say iteration number. Yeah, I will say value of I is, I will say value of I is, and here I will say comma I, right? Then we'll perform the sum here, and I will say here sum equal to, yeah, I will say there is another way, that is plus equal to I. See, if I will do I here, so what output we should get here? 168. But if I will do sums plus I here, and I will print the sums here, I will say print, and I will say sums here, and let me run it. See the output what you are getting here. You are getting the output as 6, and let me change it here. I will say sum is, and here I will say something like this. Okay, let me run it, and now it is saying sum is 6, right? Sum is 3, sum is 1, sum is 0. So if you visualize here, it is saying value of I is 0. That means I is 0, then sum is 0, because it is doing 0 plus 0. Initially sum is 0, then it is saying value of I is 1, it is saying sum is 1. What it is doing? Sum यानी कि 0, 0 plus I value is 1, and it is 1, and then 2, 2 plus 1 is 3, then 3 plus 3 is 6, which is wrong. Means this I is giving you the initial value, that is 0, 1, 2, 3, right? Now these 0, 1, 2, 3 we can use as an index for this my list. I know this 25 is present at index number 0, this is present at index number 1, this is present at index number 2, this is present at index number 3. So I can tell something like that to my interpreter. I will say him, go to my list, go to my list, over there go to index number I, whatever the value is present at index number I, give me that value. So it will go to, when I is equal to 0, it will go to my index and he will say here what is the value present at index 0, 25. Then it will take the 25 and submit here. If you want to visualize it, we can visualize it something like this. I will say print. Now I will use something called as f string here. I guess you guys know what is f string. I will say value at index I, and I will pass here, which will tell me at which index it is present. For value at index I is, and here I will say my list, my underscore list of I, right? Okay, let me run it now. See here, it is saying value of I is 0. That means initially the value of I will be 0 here, because by default it will take the initial value as 0. Okay, then we are saying here f f string we are using here, value at index I. What is the I value? 0 is my list of 0. That means my list here we are having, my list is this, my list, right? And whatever is I is 0. That means go to my list and go to index number 0. Whatever the value is present over there, print it. So at index number 0, value present is 25, and we are sum up the 25. Okay, once this 15th line is executed, obviously it will go back to the for loop. As I told you, once you have, एक बार आपने इस for loop को छेड़ा, ये तब तक नहीं छोड़ेगा आपको जब तक ये condition false हो, right? Again now I is becoming 1, I is becoming 1. Now it is checking, is 1 less than 4? Yes, 1 is less than 4. Condition is true. It will come again here, and it is saying value of I is 1. That means you are printing here 1. That means you are printing here 1. Then you are saying value at index 1 is 65. Value at index 1 is 65, and sum is 90. You are doing 25 plus 90. Okay. Then you are saying, coming back to here again, now I is been incremented, I will become 2. Again you will check, is 2 less than 4? Condition true. Then you are saying value at index 2, because I is 2 is 33. That is the 33 here, like this. Now add after third, after I is 3, right? Again it will print at the third index you are having 45. Then it will print the value, right? Sums it will print here. Again it will come back here, right? Because still when I was 3, this condition was true. Again it will come back here, and I will become 4 here. Then it will check, is 4 less than 4? If the condition is true, then it will come inside. If the condition is false, it will go outside. It will not come inside, and it will come here at line number 16, right? And you know what is the meaning of these indentations. Okay, now this is the second way, without the functions. Now if I have to do the same thing with the function, if I have to do the same thing with the function, how can I do that? Okay, now let's do that thing. And I will say here, nothing you have to do, nothing you have to do. You have to just make, put this code, put this line of a code in one box, that's it, right? And here I will say my list, here I will say my underscore list list is equal to same thing. I will take the same thing here, again taking the same thing here, and let me paste it here, okay, this is my list has been created. After that I will create one box, and the box name is def sums, and I will not pass anything here, and I will say colon here. After that, nothing you have to do again, copy the same code, copy the same code and paste it here, right? Now if I will execute it, will it run? If I will execute it, will it run? Because these things are inside the for loop, and inside for loop is inside this function, right? If I will run it, will you get any kind of output here? No. Why? Because we have not called this function, we have just defined this function here. Now here I will call in the line of D, in this line D, that means it is outside the function, it's not inside the function. If I will keep it here somewhere, that means it is inside the function. If I will keep it somewhere here, that means it is inside the for loop. If I will keep here, This means this double indentation means it is inside for loop. Single indentation means it is inside the function, sums function. And here if I give, that means it is outside the sum function because it is coming in the line of D. And here I will call the function sums here, and let me run it. Now I guess you will get an output. Okay, you are getting the same output as you were getting in the previous code, this for loop wala thing as well, right? Now one more thing. Okay, this is fine. Now if you'll see here the sums we have declared within the function, sums we have declared within the function. Can we consider the sums as a global variable? Let me cut it from here and keep it here. I will say control V. And now if I will run it, now you know guys, this is a global variable. This is a global variable here. If I will run it, now check if you will get the output. No, it is saying can't access a local variable sums. This is the sums, and where it is not associated with a value and it is not being associated with some value, right? At the time, let's keep the name again some different. I will say sum x because you will not get confused with this sum and this sum. I will say here sum x, and let me say the x here as well. Okay, that's it. Again, if I will run it, okay, so you are getting same error here. You are getting the same error here saying I can't find the sum x, right? Because the sum x is here, right? Sum x is here. As I told you in the previous classes when we were discussing the global variables, at the time I told you when you are modifying any global variable, you have to explicitly say that global sum x I am using, right? At the time it should work now, right? Now it is giving you the output. Understood this thing as well, right? Now one more thing, I guess this is clear now. No one should have the doubt now in this. Now if I will do the same thing with the recursion, I guess I have not discussed the recursion. And let me discuss the recursion first, then I will show you the same program with the recursion, right? Recursion is nothing, it is a loop, right? That means like for loop here is for loop is calling after executing these lines. It is again calling back. It is again calling back. It is again calling back. It is again calling back, right? And same thing is a recursion. What we mean the recursion? The function is calling itself again and again and again till the condition becomes false, right? That means if I will say in the layman's language, the recursion is itself a loop of function. Recursion is a loop of a function which is calling itself again and again, or you can say recursion is a loop simply, right? But it is a function loop, right? Same thing. Suppose if I will say something like this, I will say def, and I will say some, well, let's say I will say fun here, fun, and here I will say something like this, and I will say return, and leave the return. I will say print, and here I will say hi, right? And here I will say function. We have to call this function again, means we have to make it the loop again. I will say fun here again. That means again I am calling this function. When I am calling, suppose first time, okay, see here. When I am calling this fun, that means this line will be executed. After this line, I'm again calling this function. Okay, again this line will be executed. Again I am calling the function. That means here we are becoming the loop. Now, if I will run it, will you get any kind of output? No, you will not get any kind of output because you are not calling the function. This fun here is inside this def function, right? Inside this function, that means whenever you will call this thing, then this will be called, right? Indirectly we are calling it. That means here I have to call the fun. See, it will go into the infinite loop. It will go into the infinite loop. It will give the high. See how many highs it is giving. The reason being is here you are not having any kind of a stopping condition here, right? Here you are in the for loop, you are having the stopping condition. The stopping condition is I must be less than 4, right? At the time you are stopping, and here you are not having any kind of a stopping condition. That means first thing, every recursive function must have the stopping condition. जब भी आप कोई भी recursion function बनाओगे उस recursion function का stopping condition होना ही चाहिए. Getting this point? उस function का stopping condition होना ही चाहिए. Getting this thing? Okay, this is the first thing. Okay, okay, let me discuss this question now. Or maybe I will create one specified this video for a recursive function. Since we are discussing this thing now, that means I told you this for loop is this recursion is a for loop. Now we have to convert this for loop into the recursion, right? Now let's say I will say def rec underscore sum. Okay. Now if you will see here for this for loop, by default the I value is coming here 0. I guess you know that now. Suppose here you are having 4, that means here you are only given the one value 4. By default I will start from the 0. The output you have seen here. That means initially you are giving the I value as 0. So let's say I will say I here. Right? I will say I here. Okay. Then what is the stopping condition here? I must be less than, yes, I must be less than 5. Can I say here if I is equal to 5, at the time you should stop this recursive function should stop. To stop a function, I know there is something called as a return, and we are not returning anything here, right? We are not anything returning here. Okay, else what we are doing, printing the value of I, taking the sum, printing the sum. Same thing we will do here in the else part. In the else part we will do the same thing like we are doing here. Take the value of I, perform this operation and perform the sum. That's it, right? So for this, as I told you, this recursion is a function, this loop function. We have inserted the I here and we have declared the stopping condition here, right? But we have one more thing. This for loop is automatically calling itself and incrementing the I value, right? Because the step size is 1, it is by default calling itself and incrementing the I value. So here, are we calling somewhere the recursive function, this recursive function? No, we have to actually call it. After performing this operation, I will say rec underscore sum of, as I told you here, I is incremented by 1, that the step size is 1, and here I will also say I plus 1. That means we are incrementing the I1 and calling this function again. Then it will become a loop kind of a thing till I is equal to 5, right? Now, two things we did here in the recursion function. One is the stopping condition, one is the step size and calling the function again. But still we have not given the initial condition of I as 0. When I will give the initial condition of I as 0, when I will call it first time, and this is the first time when I am calling the sum. This is the first time when I am calling this rec sum, right? Now here we are not having this list here. Let me copy the list from here. Control C, and let me paste it here. Now I am having a list as a global variable. I can access it directly because I am not modifying anything here, and I can utilize it here as well. And sums, we are not having the sums. Let me create a sums one variable, and I will say sums sumz sums equal to 0, right? And sums we are modifying here inside the function. That means I have to say here global sum. That's it, and I hope this program will run. Okay, it is saying missing one required argument I, right? Because here it is expecting I. That means I have still not giving the initial condition. I will give the initial condition as 0. The first time when I am calling this function, I am assigning it 0. Same time here, when the first time you are calling this for loop, you are assigning the I value as 0. Same thing we are having here, right? Let me run it now. Now it should get executed. One more error is there, sum x. Why I have used the sum x? Now here I have used the sum x. Let's keep the name as the sum x itself. Okay, let me run it. These things will happen because I'm doing the live coding here, right? Again, we are getting some kind of errors here. Line number 40, 39. What is saying? List index out of range. Okay, it is, oh sorry, 0, 1, 2, 3. Sorry, it is 4. Sorry, it is 4 here because index number 0, 1, 2, 3, right? That means total number is 4 here, and here we are saying list of 4, or I can say, let's not count it, I will say of length of my list, my underscore list, and here I will say my underscore list. That's it. When the length is equal to all the four, then I should stop at the time. Let me run it now, and it should give you the perfect output, that is 168, that we are getting in the other programs as well. I guess now it is clear with the recursion as well, and there are many other ways with the recursion as well. This is one of the way, right? One of the easy way, like this you can do it. Hope you understood this, and we will meet in the next programming session now. Thank you.